So full admission here, it did not strike me until the release of Sonic the Hedgehog 4 that modern Sonic and classic Sonic were two different designs. I never even considered the fact that his anatomy was slightly different and that his eyes were green until the entire internet pointed it out, because I remember Sonic the Hedgehog 4's announcement trailer getting quite a bit of ridicule for using Sonic's at that time modern design as opposed to the classic one. It didn't even dawn on me, I just literally thought of it as an art style change. And now Sega have gone ahead and established classic Sonic as the younger version of the modern Sonic, and then gone so far as to say they're completely different people from other dimensions, in the same dang continuity. But are we gonna have answers for all the other Sonic designs that exist? So you know what, I got down to work, and I tried to find as many distinctive different Sonic designs as I could, and kind of go ahead and rank them for you. I came up with 19 and 2 honorable mentions that it's not fair to put in this ranking, which I'll get to before we unveil the top picks. Heck, there may be a chance that when you watch this list you think, never even thought of that as a new design. Well, to be honest, I've been on that exact journey of discovery when I trolled Google Images looking for pictures of Sonic. And that's a normal Sunday evening for me. So sit back, relax, subscribe, because we are going to be ranking Sonic the Hedgehog's designs through the ages. In 19th place, and many of you can probably predict this, is the version 1 of Sonic the Hedgehog's movie design. I think when it came to poorly translated video game to realistic movie designs, the Sonic the Hedgehog design was unprecedented. My god, the design could not have been much worse than this. And I think, to be honest, most people would agree that this design was very poorly conceived. Sonic the Hedgehog is supposed to be appealing. He's supposed to look appealing. He's supposed to appeal to that sort of tweenage radical sensibility, not look like a sleep paralysis demon. Now, I can see inspiration for this. I genuinely can see what inspired the different parts of this design. They clearly wanted this to look like something that could exist in our world. So they thought, well, what's the closest thing we have to like a humanoid animal? He's kind of got a monkey anatomy going on about him. He's got these long monkey fingers, these veiny monkey hands. His hands and feet are back to being proportionate. He got a monkey mouth, but his nose is kind of like a real hedgehog's in that it points upwards and kind of tapers in. The eyes are separated, which I guess, why wouldn't they be, to be honest? They're trying to make this look realistic. But they're much more of a realistic look to them. You can almost kind of see the veins on them if you look up close. The ears are like cat ears with an almost kind of disgusting amount of detail in there. And that's the thing with this, is it's a really, really detailed character model. A lot of working hours must have gone into this, and a lot of thought must have clearly gone into this, but my god, this Sonic is the uncanny valley. Unfortunately, it's one of those things where all that effort just didn't pay off because this, frankly, looked hideous. In 18th place. Now then, I didn't want to include any Archie Comics Sonic designs on here because he's usually pretty on model to what Sonic would look like in illustrated form, as far as the modern Sonic goes. But there is one version of modern Sonic in the Archie comics that did grab my attention, and that is Ken Pender's Sonic, which really, to be honest, is not much better than movie Sonic. For starters, it might be even more terrifying, but I'm not so sure yet. At least this doesn't have the benefit of being three-dimensional and inhabiting the same space as humans. But everything that could possibly go wrong with a drawing of Sonic the Hedgehog tends to go wrong in Ken Pender's artwork. For starters, Sonic has human anatomy. We don't have noodle limbs, we have muscles and joints. But then that is paired up with Sonic's giant hands, feet, and head. The eyes are still kind of joined up, but at the same time, they are huge this time. Sonic is really giving Ogorki the Hedgehog a run for his money when it comes to having giant dilated pupils. So it's not really something that's inspired or well thought out like the Sonic movie version. This is literally everything that could ever go wrong with an illustration of Sonic ever. And frankly, it's terrifying. In 17th place, we have Fleetway Sonic, who's kind of like a poorly translated version of classic Sonic. I think at the time that Fleetway comics were the main source of Sonic stories, we rarely really got a good look at Sonic the Hedgehog from other angles that were required for this level of storytelling. So they basically had to kind of make Sonic's design up for a brand new perspective, and it just doesn't work. I get the sense that they took a little bit of inspiration from Toei Sonic in regard to how the quills sort of point upwards, but Sonic's anatomy itself is so much closer to the USA model of classic Sonic. Those two are polar opposites. USA Classic Sonic and Toei Sonic are the complete opposite of one another, and this weird amalgamation just doesn't work. In 16th place, we have Sonic's design in Sonic Heroes. Sonic Heroes wanted to kind of take Sonic back to his roots to a degree by going back to a much more colorful, kid-friendly sort of aesthetic. It was the kind of thing, while returning to the roots of Sonic the Hedgehog, they also wanted to advance the series too. This wasn't just like a nostalgia trip. So it's not like we went back to classic Sonic or anything like that. What we got instead was a much more colorful look of modern Sonic, in a brand new art style. And this look was quite a drastic departure from the sort of artwork that we'd seen on the previous two 3D Sonic games, in that it was all 3D, and for me, this first venture into having 3D artwork for the game just didn't quite pay off. Or at least in hindsight, I don't really like this look. It's very plasticky, very tacky. Everything is crazy shiny and glossy looking. Maybe it's just hindsight, but for me this just doesn't work as well as the radical sort of 2D artwork that we got for Sonic Adventure 1, 2, and the Sonic Advance series. I think this was also the first time that Sonic looked truly lanky as well as that, and I definitely prefer when he's got slightly smaller proportions than this. His head's also a bit of a boxy shape, and he's got really thick eyebrows. In 15th place, we have Sega Superstars Sonic. That's a lot of alliteration. And I'm referring exclusively to Sonic's design in Sega Superstars for the EyeToy, which released 1 year after Sonic Heroes and showed us a drastically improved Sonic design. Sonic's design was much more like in the Adventure series, albeit with longer legs, and his character model was definitely of a significantly higher quality. It has a lot of personality with that cheeky grin. My only issue with this is that once again he has this very plasticky look. It's definitely toned down a bit from Sonic Heroes, but it is still present. In 14th place, we have 3D 90s Classic Sonic, but let's call him Extreme Sonic for short. This guy had been making little appearances since the Sonic the Hedgehog 3 title screen. He was seen again in the title screen for Sonic and Knuckles, would have made his playable debut in Sonic Extreme if it weren't cancelled, but he did get to appear in Sonic 3D Blast. This was made at a time when CGI imagery was still pretty new and pretty primitive, and Sonic being made up of simplistic shapes translated quite well to that. And he still managed to carry a lot of that classic Sonic personality over to the third dimension pretty well. Oh, that's it. Yeah, I forgot to mention he was also in Sonic's Schoolhouse. Man, what a primitive era for gaming. And while this definitely does appear quite dated today, it certainly could have been worse. And I think, in many ways, as I said before, it is thanks to Sonic's design being made of very simplistic shapes. They were able to make it work this early on. In 13th place, we have Deke Sonic. Deke Sonic came about at a time when we still hadn't quite established how Sonic looked in different angles and different perspectives and different dimensions. And this was Sonic storytelling on a level like we'd never seen before at the time of the video game's release. Because Deke was a USA-based animation studio, obviously Sonic's design here shares a lot in common with Sonic's design in the US box art for the original Sega Mega Drive games, with the thicker bodily anatomy and the appearing to be almost two-dimensional spikes on the back of his head. It was definitely a more layered look for Sonic, much like the USA version, but I'm really not sure how I feel about this interpretation of Sonic's trademark quills. In 12th place, we have 2006 Sonic. 2006 marked Sonic's first jump into the high-definition era, and with it came the, at that time, most polished Sonic the Hedgehog 3D character model we had ever seen. But design-wise, this was a little bit of a departure from what had come before. Sonic had become progressively lankier over the years, and this marked the next succession in that step, but some would say it's a step too far. Sonic's design no longer had that sense of bounce to it anymore. It was definitely slick, but perhaps a bit too slick. His trademark quills now look almost like a bunch of bananas, and Sonic's trademark personality just isn't coming across in this design. Now, that isn't something that's just lost in translation, though. If you've ever played Sonic 06 or seen the cutscenes, Sonic's trademark personality just isn't there. And as you would expect, the fandom were pretty vocal about it, which is why, save for the Sonic Riders sequel, this design didn't see the light of day again. In 11th place is Classic Sonic USA. It's a little bit strange how much miscommunication there was between Sega of Japan and Sega of America in the 90s. Doctor Eggman was renamed to Dr. Robotnik to make for a more threatening villain for US audiences. This change was hastily made without the consent of Sega of Japan, and the same goes for Sonic the Hedgehog getting a redesign for the USA box art and promotional art, with a Sonic design that was expected to be more appealing to the American market, in an art style similar to what you would see on a 90s Disney movie. I actually believe that this design was handled by one of the people that worked on artwork for like the Goofy movie. And that really does come across not only in the way that the design is shaded, but also just the sort of art style to it. It's definitely a more layered up design than its Japanese counterpart. I can appreciate it for what it is, but honest to God, I do think the Japanese design would have went over just fine, and it very much appears to have, with the release of Sonic Mania, but at the same time, that could just be a hindsight thing. Maybe if they had released Sonic as he were in his Japanese design in America in the 90s, it might not have taken off the way that it did. Who knows? In 10th place, we have Modern Sonic. After the poor reception of Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, Sega wanted to find a midway point between the progressions they were taking with Sonic and his roots. So when you want to bring Sonic back to his roots, where better to look than the opening introductory cutscene of Shadow the Hedgehog. Yeah, there's kind of this misconception that Modern Sonic made his very first appearance in Sonic Unleashed, but if you look closely at the intro of Shadow the Hedgehog, Sonic can be seen in there, and he definitely appears to resemble his modern design. It's just that this design never saw the spotlight outside of that brief cameo in that intro until Sonic and the Secret Rings. Yeah, no, still not Sonic Unleashed. I think Sonic Unleashed gets the credit because that's the mainline game, the first mainline game to feature this design. And by mainline, I don't mean, it's not a storybook one or a spin-off, it is like the main series. So yeah, my guess is that Sega looked at that opening CGI cutscene and thought, okay, that's the design we need to go for. We need to make that the new identity for Sonic. Which is a modern Sonic design that kind of trims away some of the lankiness that Sonic developed during Heroes and Sonic 06, but doesn't go too far in the direction of classic Sonic either. It's a very well-rounded and what many would deem definitive Sonic design. But, while I really do like modern Sonic, I have to say he's a bit stiff. There have been certain instances, for example the opening cutscene of Sonic Unleashed, where yeah, he's able to express more thanks to better animation. But for the most part, I generally find this design to be a little bit stiff and a little bit lifeless. Maybe it's just over familiarity for me, but at this stage it's kind of like vanilla Sonic. I'm sure it was a sight for sore eyes after Sonic 06 though. In 9th place we've got the mid-2000s promo Sonic, by which I mean the illustrations. The kind of Sonic you would see on the box art for Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. During the late 90s through to the mid-2000s, this was the main Sonic. This was the most you'd ever see of him. He was on the cover for both Sonic Adventure games, he was on the Sonic Mega Collection cover, the 3 Sonic Advance game covers, and the 2 Sonic Rush covers. And this art style just screams radical, which is exactly what Sonic needs to be. And a very similar aesthetic was carried over to the Sonic X TV series. It's definitely clear that this caught on as the aesthetic for Sonic at that time, and I would really love to see this art style make a return, as it has a lot of personality. The closest thing we've had since this is the animation style for Team Sonic Racing Overdrive, which combines the sort of radical look of this art style with the expressiveness of the Toei Sonic. And the reason that's not on this list is because I'm not really factoring in like YouTube specials or mobile games, but it definitely deserves a little shout out of recognition for sure. In 8th place, and this could be the hill that I die on, Sonic Boom. Now, I'm not going to claim that I always loved the Sonic Boom designs. When I first saw them, I hated them. Sonic with blue arms, extra quills, a scarf, and sports tape? And this is the lankiest he's ever looked. Have they learned nothing from Sonic 06? But the truth is, I ended up watching Sonic Boom the series, and I loved it. And me giving this story and this universe and these characters a chance led to me giving the design work a proper chance. And learning to really appreciate this look for Sonic. Yes, it was definitely the most drastic departure from Sonic's classic design that we had ever had at the time of its release. But in some ways, that's a good thing because it really got an identity of its own. And better yet, these character models, in particular Sonic's as well, are so much more expressive than their modern counterparts. In fact, I rarely factor in Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric when discussing this because it's not exactly the strong suit of the franchise, but The thing about Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric that no one ever gives it credit for is its use of squash and stretch animation, which is reminiscent to the Sonic Boom TV series as well. Stretch and squish animation just suits Sonic to the ground, it's so expressive. I'd love to delve one last time into the Sonic Boom universe in a sandbox Sonic game, because this universe was just brimming with personality, and it's so sad to see it go. There's something so brilliant about Sonic Boom, and just the fact that Rise of Lyric was so unfinished and so poorly conceived let the whole thing down. In 6th place, we have Sonic's character model in Sonic Adventure 2. Now, I realize that in this era of gaming, obviously the graphics were going to be pretty primitive, and Sonic Adventure 2 Sonic doesn't hold up brilliantly today as far as technical aspects go. You can see the polygons on this guy, you can feel the polygons on this guy. Sometimes his arms are detached from his body, and his mouth movements are a little strange. But from a design standpoint, this has a lot of attitude to it. Sonic's character model and facial expressions have a lot of personality. And Sonic Adventure 2 is probably the most radical Sonic game ever made, and this is probably the most radical Sonic has ever looked, complete with gear on his wrists and soap shoes for grinding. This design has an identity of its own, and I really appreciate that. In 5th place, we have Sonic Adventure's character model. Now, again, primitive. Very, very primitive. Much more primitive than even the Sonic Adventure 2 character model. But what I appreciate about this design is its anatomy. Once again, Sonic has all of the personality you could possibly want from him. He's the rad dude with the attitude, and his design sells that really well. But I also just really appreciate just the body proportions of this guy. He's not going full noodle with his limbs, they're still slightly thick, but he's not too lanky either. He's kind of the perfect middle ground between classic Sonic and modern Sonic, which I really appreciate. In 4th place, we have Sonic's revised movie design. For starters, how unprecedented is it that they literally released a trailer for a Sonic the Hedgehog movie featuring a drastic redesign of the character that everyone hated, but they didn't wait for the sequel to change it, they just got straight to work based on everyone's response. What this design represents is something awesome. It represents our voices being heard, and I'll always love it for that. But not to mention, this design is absolutely fantastic. Everything I loved about Sonic Adventure 1's anatomy is present in this one. He's not gone for the full noodle look of the later Sonic designs, but he's not too stumpy either, he's perfect. The way they've incorporated the fur here really works well, and I gotta admit, the blue arms have definitely grown on me. But also the genius way they've handled Sonic's eyes. They are pretty much the shape that Sonic's eyes usually are, but they're no longer joined, but instead between them, the fur is white to give it that sort of joined look. That's absolutely brilliant, and so creative. If by some chance it turns out that this is not the real Sonic the Hedgehog redesign, which is unlikely at this stage as we had a lot proving that it could be the real thing, then I will make a sequel video to this taking him out. But for now, this is perfect Sonic. This is the perfect Sonic for today. We went from the worst Sonic ever to one of the best, to one that made it to the top 4, and I think they deserve a round of applause for that. In 3rd place is the 3D classic Sonic, the modern classic Sonic, I guess you could say, from Sonic Generations and Sonic Forces. In terms of the cutscenes in Sonic Generations, it was pretty minimal, but classic Sonic stole the show, as his character design just had so much more personality than modern Sonic's did. And I think that also really came through well, because classic Sonic can't talk in these games, he can't express himself any other way, and this was a pretty flawless 3D translation of the Japanese classic Sonic. But the strangest realization for me was that this design is actually timeless. It doesn't look dated when put next to the modern Sonic. If anything, he shows up the modern Sonic. This 3D version of classic Sonic proved that classic Sonic still absolutely works today. So, before I get to my top 2 picks, I'm gonna give a few honorable mentions. Now, the reason they're just honorable mentions is because it wouldn't be fair to include in this list. So, the first one is Lego Sonic from Lego Dimensions. I think Lego did a really nice job realizing Sonic's design and bringing it into Lego form. It's kind of weird that he actually ends up being less stiff and more expressive than the general modern Sonic design these days. That's crazy. And another honorable mention, and this is because not an official one but a fan effort instead, goes to Blue Core Studios with their Sonic the Hedgehog fan film design, which, much like Paramount's official release, takes Sonic into the real world complete with a realistic design. Now, admittedly, this design doesn't always work. There are some shots where it looks good, and some shots where it really doesn't. But you gotta think, these guys were working with a shoestring budget, and how well they managed to make it work with that? is impressive. Much like in the new movie, Sonic has realistic fur and spines. I guess one issue that I have with this though is that the colors of him are so muted in this version. But they did a nice job of realizing the rest of Sonic's anatomy without going too far, making him look like a spiky monkey. It definitely isn't as visually appealing as the movie Sonic redesign from the new film, but would you really expect it to be? This was a superb effort. So, in second place is classic Sonic's Japanese design, which is the design that started it all. The design we would see on the classic Mega Drive trilogy covers in Japan and Europe, and would go on to make its ceremonious return for the release of Sonic Mania, which proved one other thing. This design is absolutely timeless, this art style is absolutely timeless, and it should have never been abandoned. It's such a simple art style, but it's so effective and has so much character. It's positively gleaming with color, but in the right kind of way. And now, in first place, we have the Toei Sonic, as seen in the opening cutscene of Sonic CD, as seen in Sonic the Hedgehog the movie, the OVA version, not the new one, also showcased reanimated by Tyson Hesse in the opening and ending of Sonic Mania, as well as the Sonic Mania Adventures series on YouTube. Toei Sonic is simply the most refined looking Sonic that exists. He's so simple, but he's got so much character, he works from every angle, every perspective, and he stands so proud. He can be slick and athletic, but he's not too lanky. This design is just a spark of lightning in a bottle that you'll probably never recapture with Sonic. What do you guys think? Do you agree with my list, disagree? Comment below and discuss, and as always, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it, don't forget to hit subscribe, hit the like button, and in the description below is the link to my Patreon. Stay tuned for exciting promos and offers. Oh hey gang, look at this! Channel Goat is back! But he's got bad news. His computer was hacked by the Adzinco gang, and they leaked his private information. And now his goat cojones are there for everybody to see. Ah man, that's quite a predicament you got there, Channel Goat. And the thing is, you're not the only one. Do you know how many people get hacked per year and have their personal information and data spread online for all to see? A lot. Like, look it up. And I know what the rest of you are thinking. It hasn't happened to me, yet. Well, emphasis on yet. I mean, how old are you? Right, now how long is the average human lifespan? That's a lot of time that you could get hacked in. And by the time that's done, everybody is gonna know what your pee-pee looks like. Do you really want that? Do you really want the world to see your pee-pee? You run that risk every single day, guys. Seriously, hackers, pretty talented people. Which is why I, for one, use NordVPN to protect my private information and my Nords. It shuffles your data so that it can't be found by hackers, but not only that, it can also unlock the worldwide range of Netflix. And like, who wouldn't want that, right? Now you can really maximize your subscription. The fact is, guys, you could save yourself the stress and a lawsuit by simply browsing with NordVPN. And I've made it easy for you. A link is in the description below. And this subscription comes with a promise. Nobody has to know what you're into anymore. You little furry you. Anyway, sign up today. Seriously, do it. Please? For your sweet little puppy. This video is brought to you by Zentai Zentai for all your cosplay needs. Link is in the description below and they are very cool and good. Cosplay your favorite characters or send in one of your own designs. Affordable prices and very high quality. Made to order and made to measure. But most of all, made to be heckin' awesome, if you couldn't already tell. Guys, can you believe where we are now and where we started? How long ago it was that Channel Pup, or Channel Goat even, came about? Because it really wasn't that long when you think about it. Can you believe the amount of support I've received from this community, from all of you subscribing to the channel and everything? It's unreal. It's a dream come true for me. But behind the YouTubers you watch usually comes a bit of a truth, is that they're often dirt poor. Now, I've had the good fortune of being able to grow this YouTube channel and hopefully turn it into a career, but I'm gonna need a little bit of help along the way, to even the odds, to make ends meet, so that I can use all of the possible time that I have to make videos for you guys as opposed to doing something mundane for barely enough money to make it worth its while. I've done all that. I've lived that life. The fact is, together we all built Channel Pup. We made it what it is today, and I want to keep the ball rolling on that. I don't ever want to stop doing this because this is the most gratifying job I've ever had, and I think the most pleasurable hobby anyone could ever have. I don't take any of the support that I receive from you guys for granted, but if in any way you're wondering if maybe you could do a little more for the channel even, then I want to direct you to the Patreon link in the description below. It would mean the world to me to have your support via Patreon. It can help me to make ends meet. It can help me to better my content. It can help me to have more time to really work on this stuff. But you know what? I'm not just going to take your support and run. No way, Jose. In the Patreon, you can access exclusive videos via the Pups Project Room playlist, where you can see different projects that I've been working on or have worked on that have either not made it to YouTube for general viewing or have been cancelled, or, well, you can get a little view of the process that goes behind the Channel Pup videos and productions. As well as that, you tend to get advanced previews of the bigger Channel Pup projects, our tentpole event projects. If you've seen Marvelous Tales of Spider-Man, you'll be aware that that was released on the Patreon first, and 20 days later approximately was released for general viewing on YouTube. That's not the only time I'm gonna do this, but you know what? If you can't do the Patreon or are just not interested in doing the Patreon, I fully understand. Like, it's still a big ask in my opinion, and what counts most is your support. So as always, thank you so much, guys. I've been Channel Pup, and I will think of a better catchphrase next time. Now please leave